Hello and welcome to my Ciao Land of the Rising Sun mini album tutorial series designed for scrap and create. If you would like to follow along with the tutorial series, check out the links in the description box below where you can purchase all the supplies that you will need to make this mini album. Let's get into the tutorial. In today's tutorial, we are going to be working on page 4, starting with the front side. The first piece we're going to cut measures 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. On the 2 3/4 inch side, we're going to score at 1/2 inch on the left-hand side. The next piece measures 6 3/4 by 5 1/4. On the 6 3/4 inch side, we're going to score at 1/2 inch on the right-hand side. Next, my piece measures 7 1/4 by 2 1/4. It's just actually a little tiny bit less than 7 1/4. It's not quite 7 1/8, but it's just a little tiny bit less. On the 2 1/4 inch side, I'm going to score this at 1/2 inch along the bottom. Then I have a piece that measures 3 1/2 by 2 inches. On the 2 inch side, I'm going to score this at 1/2 inch along the bottom. And then I have 2 pieces that measure 3 1/2 by 4 1/2, no scoring for these pieces. Now for each of these pieces here, I'm going to miter the ends on the 1/2 inch tab section, use my bone folder to burnish those folds, and then I'll come back and we will start assembling the page. To start assembling my page, I have my 2 3/4 inch flap here. I'm going to apply my adhesive to the back of my 1/2 inch tab section. And this piece is going to go on the left side of my page base. So I'm going to line up that score line with that left edge. And then I'm going to use my bone folder to burnish this down. Now I'm going to open this up. Taking my larger flap, I'm going to apply my adhesive here to my 1/2 inch tab. And this piece I'm going to place on the right side of the page. So I'm just going to line up that score line with the edge of the page and burnish this down. Then I'm going to open up my page. The reason I've cut this one just slightly less than 7 1/4 is because I need it to fit between these 2 flaps. So you want to make sure that they will fit first. If you didn't trim enough, then you want to trim a little bit off of the side of your flap. But then once you have the right size, you go ahead and apply your adhesive to this 1/2 inch tab section. And this is going to go down here at the bottom of the page, and it's going to form a pocket once we have our decorative papers on. So I'm going to make sure again where I've placed it, those flaps will close. And then I'll burnish this down. I'll take my final small flap. I'm going to apply my adhesive to that flap. I have my centering ruler down here at the bottom to help me with lining this up. I'm going to place this in the center, right on top of the piece that I just put down. So I'm lining up the bottom edge, the score line with the bottom edge of the previous piece, and I'm just going to adhere this down here. Now I'll take these 2 pieces and I'm just going to place them down here underneath that larger piece, close this and this. And that is the build for this page. So next we're going to bring in the Ciao papers and start decorating. I'll be using this 8x8 paper for the front of my page. The first thing I did was measure over 6 inches and then down 5 3/4. Then I've cut this off the top so that's this piece is 5 inches, so I've cut 3/4 off the top because I wanted this piece to be intact and I wanted the whole entire image here to be intact. Then from the top here, I've cut this piece, it's 2 inches by 5 inches. And these are the 2 pieces that we're going to use. So this piece is going to go here right on the front of this, and I don't have to worry about doing anything to this piece. This piece is going to go here on the front of my flap, but I'm going to make a swing tab with my chipboard piece here. So I need to make sure that I'm first going to pierce down through here, and then I need to make sure that this will clear that here. So my piece, or my hole, I should say, is 1 3/8 of an inch from the left edge and 2.5 inches down from the top or bottom because it's in the center. So I'm going to now take my brad and insert it through my chipboard piece, and then insert that brad down through the hole and open those prongs up on the back side. And now this piece is ready to go here on the front of the flap. Starting on the inside, I'm going to be using this 12 by 12 paper here, and I've cut this to 7 inches by 4.5 inches. I'm going to be placing it here on the top part of the page base. Then I'm going to apply my adhesive to each side of this flap, and I'm going to close this to form my pocket. Next, I've taken this paper here and I have cut this piece. I've cut this to 5 inches, and I cut it all the way to that brown or black border here. I've trimmed this to 2 inches. It's going to go here. And then this piece is 6 inches, and it's going to go here. From this paper here, I've cut a piece off of the side. It measures 1.5 by 7. I'm going to be placing this here. Then I'm going to place adhesive down each side of this smaller flap and close it to form a second pocket. And I have this little scrap piece of red paper that I had on my desk, and it measures, let's see, 1.25 by 3.25, and I'm going to place it here on the front of this little pocket. Now I've cut this piece from this leftover piece of 12 by 12 paper that I'd had, and I'm going to only adhere down the right edge of this onto that right flap. That way, if I have a larger photo, it can still slide underneath of here, but this gives a little bit of decoration to this page. So I'm just going to adhere this piece there, and then again, this will be able to have a photo tucked behind it, or you can just place a smaller photo here. I've tucked 2 of the little tags that I've cut from the cut apart pages into my little pocket here. So I'm just going to tuck them like this. And then for my little black mats that I have cut, I've got 2 papers here. This is from the 12 by 12. These are 3.25 by 4.25. I'm going to place these ones on the back sides of my mats. And then for the fronts, I've got these ones. It's from my 12 by 12 paper, and they are 3.25 by 4.25, and I'm going to place those here. Then I had a leftover strip of this floral paper. It is, I believe, from the 12 by 12 sheet. It was just a leftover piece that I had on my desk, and it was 3/4 of an inch. I trimmed it to 3.5, and then I've cut this into 2. So these are 3/8 by 3.5. Once I have my paper on, I'm going to adhere this to the top of each of these mats, but I'm only going to adhere the ends down to that black cardstock so the photo can slide up underneath of that so that I can use that whole entire space for a wallet size photo. Here are my photo mats finished, so I'm going to tuck those here on the base of my page. Then I'll close this and secure everything with my swing tab. So that is it for this page, and that's it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, we will go ahead and start decorating the back side of the page. So I will see you in the next tutorial.